Hey guys, here's a few quick simple tips on how to get kills in Warthunder. Because if you're like me and you came across a World of Tanks from an HP based damage system that gets you kills to a critical hit based damage system, then it might be a little bit confusing and no one really explained it to us. So here's a few quick simple tips. Try to say that one fast. Alright, so basically in Warthunder you have to kill people by doing critical hits. Actually, there's 3 ways to kill someone. The first one is to knock out all their crew members, i.e. gunner, driver, loader, machine gunner, I suppose. Depending on different tanks, they have different amount of crew members. The second way is to explode their ammo rack, which will destroy their entire tank instantly. And the third way is to burn their tank down, which is by doing damage to their fuel tanks, radiator, engine, or transmission. Any of those have a chance to set the tank on fire, and if they don't have fire extinguishers, they will burn to death. So let's start with the first way, knocking out all crew members. To knock out all crew members, you want to look for hatches. Things like driver's hatches, commander's hatches, gunner's hatches, things like that. If you're looking at the front of a tank, what you'll see is usually a driver's hatch and a gunner's hatch, and you'll want to shoot for instance, we're shooting at a PZ3 ASF-E here, and all the PZ3s and 4s and Stugs, they all have similar frontals, they have all the same chassis pretty much, because the Germans built everything pretty much the same. Just with different modifications. So on the front of most low to medium tier German tanks, even up to like the Tiger and stuff, you'll see on the right hand side you have the driver / gunner's hatch. You'll have like a port on the front, which is the driver's viewports. If you shoot for that, you'll knock out the gunner, the driver, the commander. You can knock out as many people there. Like, it depends. Nothing is ever certain, but you are certain to knock out some crew members. So that's always a good place to shoot first, because you'll probably knock out their driver at least, which means their tank is immobilized for like 10 seconds until the driver is back up. You also may knock out a gunner or a loader, which is also really useful. So after you've shot at that, and you've taken them out, then you can start moving on to second targets, because you need to take out all crew members to kill the tank. So don't keep shooting at that same spot, because you won't kill them very quickly. So you want to start shooting at the turret, because you want to look at who you've taken out. So you've taken out the driver and the loader, for say. No, if you've taken out the driver and the gunner, okay, now move up to the turret. If you shoot on the right or left hand side, you've got chances of knocking out the 2 people who sit in the turret. The 2 people who sit in the turret are usually the commander and the loader or the gunner. So if you shoot on the right hand side, you take out the commander. If you shoot on the left hand side, you take out the loader. So if you see here, I shoot at the left hand side, and on the right hand side, you can see I've now killed their loader. Now, that's my second shot, so I've killed their driver, their gunner, and their loader. So now for my final shot, they've only got 1 crew member left, and that's a commander. So you want to actively think, okay, who do they have left? Okay, they have a commander left. I will now shoot for the commander. And so the commander is usually sitting in the turret, and if you've shot on one side and he wasn't there, he's probably on the other side. So shoot on the other side, bam, all crew members knocked out, his tank is destroyed. And that's the first way to kill an enemy tank, by knocking out all their crew members. And that's always really useful to remember. Alright, so let's move on to the second way to kill a tank in Warthunder Ground Forces, and that is to set them on fire. And I suppose the second way that I said before was to ammo rack them, but we're going to go with setting on fire. Now, to set someone on fire, usually you want to do it from the sides or the rear. You can do it from the front if you shoot at the lower glasses, aiming for their transmission, which works particularly well with German tanks because they have a forward transmission. That can set their tank on fire. But the easiest way to set a tank on fire is to shoot for the engine block, which is usually the rear half of the entire hull, sitting behind the turret. In that, if you can see, as I shoot the PZ3 ASF-E's engine block, you can see I'm taking out engine, radiator, transmission, and fuel tanks. Those are the 4 things that can set a tank on fire. You won't always knock them out first shot, and it's best to probably kind of shoot a couple of different places around that area, between the tracks, between the flywheels, up the top, as you'll kind of knock out the most parts, and as each part gets damaged, the more you damage it, the more likely it is to set on fire, and there you go, after a few shots, I've set them on fire. Sometimes you'll set them on fire in one shot. It's like a 20% chance damage or something that you'll set them on fire. But either way, if you take out their engine, you do stuff like that, it pretty much ruins their tank for the rest of the time. So even if they do kill you, they're not going to be able to do much else for their team. They're not going to be able to go on cap bases. So shooting for engine is really useful. If you can't get good shots at their crew, and you've got good side shots, aim for the engine blocks. And that's really useful. Alright. Now, the final way to kill an enemy tank in Warthunder Ground Forces is to take out their ammunition rack. Now, this is really quite hard because Of course, if it was easy to take out someone's ammo rack, it'd just be a one-shot kill every single time, and the game doesn't want to do that, so it makes it quite difficult even if you know where to shoot. But the ammo rack is sitting down in the hull, usually about on the track level, just in the main hull, not in the turret, at least on this tank. It changes for each tank. But usually to take out the ammo rack, you want to go for side shots. You can also take out the horizontal drive and everything from shooting just beneath the turret on that side part of the plate on the armor. That's a really useful spot to shoot because, as you can see, it can take out a lot of crew members, gunners, drivers, commanders, loaders, because you're getting a side shot, it can go through and kill multiple people, and also you can damage your ammo rack. For instance, in this tank, the ammo rack is a little bit lower, so if you shoot through the flywheel, you can see I'm damaging the ammo rack, but I need to put 5 or 6 shots into it finally before it actually detonates, and when it does detonate, though, the turret comes flying off. It's a beautiful explosion. I want to say it's a 1-shot, but really it was like a 6-shot. But that's just luck, really. It's not really a reliable way to shoot to kill enemy tanks, because you never know if you're actually going to detonate it or not, because again, it's like a 5% chance to detonate when you damage it, just like the engine fire is only like 20% chance or something. I don't actually know the statistics, I'm not sure if they are there anywhere. But if you do have shard shots and you want to just damage your ammo rack, even if you're not looking for a detonation, if you just damage the ammo rack, then it makes it hard for them to shoot. It makes their loading times longer, and if you combine that with a dead loader and an injured gunner, their loading times are really long, and you'll probably take them out before then anyway. But in my opinion, the most reliable way to take out an enemy tank from the front is to shoot at their crew members, take out their gunner, loader, driver, commander. And that's by shooting at the little driver's hatch on the front and shooting in the turret. The turret will kill a lot of people, and then just kind of halfway down in the hull, that'll kill a lot of people as well, if you aim for weak spots. The second most reliable way to kill people is by setting them on fire or shooting for their engine block. If you're coming up behind someone, you can put a whole bunch of shots into their ass where they have very little armor and probably set them on fire pretty easily in that way, or you can put shots into their side through their engine block and you'll set them on fire that way. Aim for engines, radiators, fuel tanks, and transmission, which you can't really see, but you can kind of see the fuel tanks on some tanks. That's the good thing about Warthunder. You are aiming for critical hits, and you can actually see where the critical hits are going to be. So if you aim for driver's hatches, you're going to hit drivers, etc. So yeah, and ammo racks, if you're just looking for a fun kill, because you know you've got a way more powerful gun than they have armor, and you can aim for it. You know, the more powerful your gun is, the bigger the caliber. If you're using high explosive, you're more likely to do critical damage. So if you're aiming for ammo racks, fire some high explosive at a specific shot and you might one-shot them. Anyway, so this has been some quick, few simple tips. I don't know how to say that anymore. For Warthunder ground forces aiming, going for the 3 ways to take out an enemy tank. If you want, I'll probably put up another guide on how to actually aim for simulator battles and realistic battles, because you need to account for shell drop and things like that. So I'll put up another video for that. But this is just how to aim for critical hits and how to get kills, set people on fire, ammo racks, and crew damage. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.